Hello, welcome to SoundBridge. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a build-up, and I think that this applies really well where you can actually save this and import that into any kind of a song. When I say a song, I mean electronic music is what we're going to be dealing with here, but you can hear all these elements so much in pop music today. So what I'm going to do is create some basic elements that are going to create a drop-down build-up that you can actually import anywhere. And I'm going to start off by let's first alter this BPM to, let's say, 128 as like a standard dance music, kind of house music BPM. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to grab a snare. I'm going to find one, let's say something like this, a longer one with a longer decay. Now this snare is mono, that's why you heard it on the left channel. So let's see, I'm going to use this snare. I'm going to change my grid just like that, and let's say this breakdown needs to last for, let's say, 8 bars, 16 bars, maybe more, just like that, 4/4. Okay, nice. So what I'm going to do now is just, do one element at a time. So I'm planning to have like a snare buildup right here. So that snare roll is going to be accompanied by, let's say, noise sweeps and all kinds of risers. So let's see what we can do, in a nice and easy fashion and get this going so that we would have something effective that would work for us. So let's say I have this snare. Let's say for the first part I want it to play not so often. So yeah, just like this. Just like that. See if I do that, just like that. Nice. Okay, so okay, that's good. I'll just fade that out a tiny bit. Okay, nice. So I want that to happen a couple of times. Let's see how much. In that length. Yeah. This is quite nice, and it can vary later. So as we go deeper into adding more of the elements, I would, wildly change this. But right now I don't have to. So what I'm going to do next is just make this next one play more often, just like that, Yeah, let's try this for the next 4, and then the next one I'm just gonna do that double. So I'm just gonna shorten this, copy it over, and let's say I don't want to do that, although this is good, but let's say I want it to be, yeah, just like that. Okay, so copy that, just a tiny bit right there. Okay, nice. So this fills up everything. Of course I might even stop this at the very ending right here to add, maybe even just like that, a whole bar to add some kind of a drop impact, let's say a kick drum with a reverb or something. Let's see where it takes us. The next thing I would do, we have the snare, so I would first make the elements that are going to be making up the entirety of this build up breakdown thing. So I'm going to find, let's say, a serum, just like that. And mind you, you can use any synth, you can use massive, you can use any synth that has enough, modulators where you can actually do something like this, and a lot of them can. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a really long note, just like this, for the entirety of this pattern right there, for its entire length. Make this smaller. Okay, let me write a note that's gonna be not so short. Let's try it like this. Okay, nice. It's gonna have one note that plays the entire thing. And what I want to do first is, let's say I get this sawtooth right here. That's good. I'm gonna get an LFO, goes upwards. It's gonna be rising this sawtooth upwards, let's say in a long range, just like that. So this LFO is gonna be controlling the coarse pitch of this oscillator. It's going to be rising it up. So I'm going to try that out, and I need it to last for 16 bars, so exactly that length. So let me see, 16, just like that. and I want it to be enveloped, so it's gonna start when the note starts. So if I actually play that note, let's try that. So it starts off really low. Let's try it a bit higher. Okay, so you get the drift. We don't have to play the entire thing. So let's see, what else can we do with this? We could play something like this, like a nice pattern right here. That's also going to be controlling. Well, this is not pitch perfect. I think if you press Alt on your keyboard, you can actually get these to snap. So I can get these to snap to the grid. And right now I'm going to use this second LFO as well. I'm going to say this to last for the entire bar. It's going to get this LFO to affect this pitch as well. So let's see how that works now. I would actually prefer this sawtooth to start off flat. So let's see if that's doable. Let's see if we can route this LFO1. So if we can use this LFO1 as the aux source for the LFO2, just like this. So let's see if that's gonna work. So let's try it. Beautiful, beautiful. So what I've done right there is I've made this LFO1, which just slowly rises upwards, to be the auxiliary source for this modulation right here, where the LFO2 affects the pitch. Which means that if this LFO1 is at minimum value, just like this, the LFO2 does not affect the pitch at all. Yeah. When LFO1 is at its highest value, at its maximum, the LFO2 affects the coarse pitch this much. So it's just the LFO1 controlling how much the LFO2 affects the pitch from here to here, and the LFO1 is actually rising. So we're going to be ending up with, and let me play that solo, is going to be this sawtooth starting flat, so just rising up, and then the LFO1 slowly kicks in its effect. Yeah, so let's try that. Let you hear it. Actually, that's pretty nice, and I like it even more when it's longer lasting, this LFO2. So as you can see, it's easy to get something, you know, nice and complex going on with only two LFOs where they actually affect each other in different ways. Now, what else can we do to make this more complex? Well, if you just think about it, we have this LFO that goes all the way up. So if we want any kind of control to change from here to here, so from the beginning to the ending of this actual riser, we can make that happen by affecting anything with this LFO1. So whatever that is, let's say this unison. The unison can stay at 0 and then it can slowly rise up. So let's try that as well. So that's really nice. We can actually add another oscillator in there if we wanted to, and we could add something that is let's say one of these spectral ones, and we can add something that's going to be changing over time. So actually LFO1 affects it again, and we can add that as well in there, and we could actually make it affect its coarse pitch just like that. Let's see how much it affects right here. So it's, let's say 32. We want to make them the same. I want to make them the same so that they have the same exact pitch. And let's say with the LFO1 it affects right this one right here. I mean, they don't have to be, but I prefer it. And I'm gonna add it to this one and make it 20 as well. So let's see what that sounds like now. Already good enough for me. For something rising, something clean, I can actually engage the filter, and I can make this filtered and this one not, or maybe have them both filtered. So let's just decide along the way. I'm going to use the LFO1, of course, for slow rising during this entire period. Nice, I like that as well. What else could we do? We could maybe add some effects. So maybe even add another filter on top of all of this. Maybe add, yeah, distorted comp filter or something like that. So why not try that? Let's see what that sounds like. I'm gonna disengage the first filter just so I can, get a better grasp of what's happening right here. Let's see if we can do this. Nice. Actually, I like this effect, and I would like that to happen from the maximum to the minimum, but I like that to start somewhere in the middle. So I'm gonna make the exact same LFO as I did with the number 1. I'm gonna make this 3 the second half only, just like that, and I don't want to delay it with the delay button, so I'm just gonna make it a second half so I have better visual representation of what I'm doing. I'm gonna trigger it. I'm gonna make it last 16 bars just like the first one. So this one is going to remain at minimum, or let's say at maximum, just like this, and then it's gonna start driving this parameter, just a moment, this parameter all the way down. Yeah, I like that. So that's gonna happen in the middle of this riser. Let's try that as well. That was really nice. So you see, we can introduce change at any point in time. I could actually EQ this out and let's say just add high pass right there so I don't have too many low frequencies. Yeah, we don't really need those all the time. We could actually move that as well. We could move this high pass filter a little bit up so that everything high passes a tiny bit as we get to the end. And I think we have a really nice riser right there, just out of this one synth. So what else could we do? I could add another serum, and let's say drag this note down so I have the same note for the entire length. Open that one serum, maybe solo it, and I could turn this off, turn on the noise, find a nice noise like let's say bright white, and turn it all the way up engage the filter. Maybe this one is good. Rise up on the fatness and the drive, yeah, with a lot of resonance, because what's going to be giving us a movement in the noise right here to make that noise sweep is actually going to be the filter, and a resonant one actually gets like more movement and more resonance. You can actually hear it, you know, sweeping across the frequency spectrum. So let's try that as well. I'm gonna make another, you know, LFO just like that, 16 bars. I'm gonna make that one, control that LFO, and see how we need to handle that in the terms of this range, you know, from which frequency to which frequency does it need to rise. So let's hear that right now. Okay, so that's good, but I don't need so much of the low frequencies. I could, of course, do all of this using effects inside, but, you know, why not have a nice preset that I can just, you know, trigger and have a nice, you know, noise sweep happen, you know, by itself. So why I'm going to do this and make it even more progressive, just like that. I want the soul ending of this entire thing to have a nice, really nice sweep up, you know, just like that, like another surprise where something extra happens right here at the end. So now you see I have this riser, I have the noise sweep all the way up, I have the snare. So let's see what that sounds like together. Yeah, of course we're gonna have to be dealing with all these, you know, volumes right here, but let's see. Okay, that was good. I like that. One thing I would do is on this serum that's playing the riser, I'm going to just add some reverb, and I'd like that reverb to, you know, just let me pull it all the way down. So I'd like to add some reverb, some plate, some decay can even be long, because it sounds really dry and really close to me, and we have that snare for this. So let's see, we have these three elements. Okay, so that's almost done. We have a nice riser buildup, and you could, you know, alter these with, you know, consecutive pauses, you know, and drops, but I'm just gonna do something really simple that you can use anywhere, disregarding the track. So I'm gonna find a nice kick drum, just like this one, add that in, and I'm going to use a reverb. I'm gonna delete my search, so I'm gonna use a reverb on that kick drum. I'm gonna make it really wet. I really don't want that kick drum, you know, banging so loudly. What I do want is a lot of that reverb, a lot, and I want it to be long, impactful. So let's see what it's gonna sound like. A lot of the highs as well. Let's see. We need more. That's too long. So what I do need is a different kind of a kick drum that has a tiny bit more of the high frequencies in it, maybe. Yeah, these are too low. So let me find another drum machine, add a kick drum in there. Just like that. Yeah, maybe even longer. So that's a nice beginning. So we have that kick drum with a lot of reverb to just start off, you know, something to give us an impact when this actual breakdown starts. Another thing we could do is we could actually automate the volume and the gain of this snare drum. But if I do that, I'm gonna be stuck with the value of what it is. But you could, you know, start it off slower, although I don't hear that as much in modern music. So, you know, this is just enough, so quite enough of, you know, elements for a nice build-up. You could add much more, you could have even less than this, although I don't think that, you know, having these three and this one kick drum at the beginning is something really basic. Like, this is something that you could do anywhere and it would almost always work. Now remember, if you want to recreate this, you can download a free copy of SoundBridge using the link in the description. If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you.